All right, hello there, welcome back to another wee bit different video. Today's video is an NBA related video, and for those of you that are waiting for me to talk about the NBA offseason aside from just a short skit about the Lakers, I am creating a offseason's grade video, so don't worry, we'll get to all that stuff. But before we can get to that, there was this interesting topic I had found on Reddit, the title being, which NBA star has the fastest fall from grace? And that had me thinking a lot of things. Of course, I'm like, man, how many stars in the past decade, for example, have come and go like that? And there wasn't a whole lot that I could think of, to be honest with you. One name that comes to mind for sure is Ben Simmons. Another one being maybe Zach LaVine. The only real person I can think of is Ben Simmons and maybe arguably Zach LaVine, because again, he was an all-star once and then just kind of never replicated that season. But who knows? Who knows what people are going to come up with? I'm sure there's a lot of names. Jordan Poole. Oh, Jordan Poole definitely is on here. That's a pretty good one. Andrew Wiggins, maybe. I mean, he's been decent for a while, but he had that Warriors championship run and then kind of just fell off. But Jordan Poole, Ben Simmons, maybe Zach LaVine would be the ones that I would think of off the top of my head. Anyway, let's get into the discussion. I'm really curious as to see what names are going to pop up. Ben Simmons, from all-star to unplayable after one playoff series, after one passed-up layup. Yeah, I mean, he's had some good moments with the Nets, to be honest, but some good moments are definitely far from what he was with Philly. I think the yips definitely screwed with him mentally, and then he's had a serious prolonged back issue. So I'm not saying he's ever going to go back to the way he was, but I think he's not like just done. I think he can be useful once more on a team, but the biggest problem is, can he be healthy? And two, is he going to get even a slight amount of confidence? So that's a great one. Next up, Shawn Kemp got fat during lockout and changed his entire game as a mid-range post-up specialist for a 20 points per game season with Cleveland. Became a role player at the very next season. So this is before my time. Shawn Kemp being Seattle Sonics, Supersonics. So definitely before my time. That lockout killed him. Not being around the game seemed to hurt him. Like, people not going back to the office after COVID, it felt like Kemp never mentally went back to the player he was. And the player he was, man, he's still my favorite ever. So again, I can't really have too much of a take on this just because I don't remember seeing this guy ever. I was born in the year 2000. I'm not sure when his last season was, but this guy was definitely before my time. Isaiah Thomas is a pretty good one, but injuries. Isaiah Thomas, 1 minute he's back all-star, killing it in the playoffs, playing through injuries, through tragedy, and expecting the Brinks truck. I don't know what a Brinks truck is. Anyway, next minute he's traded, coming back from injury too soon to prove himself, now trying to fight his way back into the lead. Big problem with Isaiah Thomas is I think it was his hip injury that really just derailed his career. Definitely an immensely talented scorer in his prime, but when you're 5'9" and your scoring kind of isn't the same, obviously he was a defensive liability throughout his entire career, so if you're not having that same scoring output, your worth is not the same. Oladipo was superstar level that 1 year. Honestly, saying Victor Oladipo on this list is really, really crazy, because that 1 year with the Pacers, he was actually really, really good. In my opinion, he's one of the biggest what-ifs from that era. His game, athleticism, and persona were all pretty likable during those Pacers years. But yeah, I think it was a knee injury that derailed his career, and then went to the Heat and did nothing. So yeah, Victor Oladipo. I believe he did start out in Orlando. Nothing crazy going on there. And then from Orlando, I believe he went to the Pacers, and he had one really, really, really good year. So that was kind of crazy. That's Roy Hibbert's music. Roy Hibbert from the Pacers. I do remember he played with PG, but I don't have much memories going back from those days. Ben Simmons is the obvious one. Definitely is obvious too because it's in more recent times, but some of the names that we've gone through, people are pulling back from way long ago. I mean, I guess the 90s and early 2000s might not feel like forever ago, but I didn't watch the NBA back then, so it feels like forever ago to me. But yes, Ben Simmons is definitely an obvious one. Everyone knows the exact play in the moment it happened to. That's the tough part too. That's tough. Andrew Bynum fell off a cliff. What it was there, he had a bad knee injury, I believe. I don't know if it was a torn ACL or whatever it was. Following up right here, I think the knee injuries really just stripped apart any enjoyment he had for the game. I don't think he was ever a basketball over everything guy in the first place, but imagine doing a job you aren't super into and you get hurt every time you do it. I'd probably basically quit too. Yeah, he had a really, really bad knee, which is a lot of injuries, unfortunately, in all sports. Knees are just, unless you're a pitcher in baseball, knee is the most dangerous injury you can have. For a baseball player, it would be your arm, Tommy John surgery kind of stuff. That is the worst injury for a baseball pitcher. But for every other player in every other sport, it's probably a knee injury. Probably. I'm surprised no one has said Darren Williams, and that's a really good one. He had a phenomenal year with the Jazz, and I think it was around 2008 where he was just super, super, super good. All-star level kind of player. And then out of nowhere, I don't know what team he went to after the Jazz. Was it the Nets? He just died off. Not sure what happened there. I didn't watch enough NBA at the time to know, but I do remember him being on the TV screen, and the dude was him. This is one that I thought of, but I didn't know if I could say, considering I don't think he fell off because of skill or anything. And I think he was good for a little bit, if I remember correctly. Brandon Roy. I do remember this because I live in Oregon, so everyone was talking about how good this guy was, and he was really good. I don't know how long he was good for, though. Let's see real quick, because the whole topic is, the fastest fall off. But did he have a Oh, he did. Oh, fuck yeah, he did. Damn. So he played 2006, 2007, and only lasted until 2010, 2011, until he first retired, then came back for one season, and then just called it. Wow. Yeah, that fits the bill. I mean, you want to look at 2008, 2009, averaging 22 points per game, 2009, 2010, 21 points per game, and then out of nowhere, 2010, 2011, 12 points per game. That was a huge fall off. Wow. All-star in his second year in the league. Most improved player in his second year in the league. MVP. He did not win MVP. Brandon Roy never won MVP. No. What am I? He must have been a contender for MVP, but Brandon Roy never MVP. Hold up. Yeah, he finished 9th in MVP voting. Okay. I had to make sure that was right. That's why it says the 9. NBA All-Second, NBA All-Star, MIP 11. Even though he. Okay, you know what? I see the fault in what I said. He was the 28th player and most improved. At that point, I don't even know why why the accolade's on here. But in his third year, he was 11th in voting, if that's worth anything. His fourth year, All-NBA third team, and still an All-Star. And then fourth year hits just 23 games played, 12 points per game. Retire the next year. Injuries, man. And I know for sure with him it was the knee. That is just sad, because you talk about someone who's just popping off. I mean, his first year in the league, 16.8 points per game. Wow. That is... Yeah, that's crazy. He fits the bill for this. Okay, so this is a good last comment to leave it on. We have I want to talk about this era of fall-offs. Hassan Whiteside hurt me after his fall. I saw it all unfold in that 2018 series against the 76ers. For those of you not familiar with Hassan Whiteside, he was really good with the Miami Heat. A rebounding machine. Somebody who would average like, I think 14 rebounds a game or some crazy ass stat like that. Dude was really good at rebounding the ball. Follow up right here, we have Ben Simmons had the most insane fall off in NBA history. From the best perimeter defender in the NBA, one of the best playmakers, and considered a top 20 player in the NBA, to potentially being a decent role player if he can play is insane. He was meant to be MVP and MVP. Gordon Hayward is another one. I'm not going to rate all that, but yeah, that's a pretty good one. He was really, really good with the Jazz, went to Boston, and just from then on, never did what he did with the Jazz. Isaiah Thomas, we talked about. Okay. See, this last part is shitty. I could mention John Wall, but he was good for a decent amount of seasons. The problem with John Wall is he doesn't fit the criteria of this because he was good for like 8-9 plus seasons. So doesn't really make sense. He did waste his career with the Wizards because the Wizards did absolutely nothing. I think for a while there, John Wall was definitely a top 5 point guard. I would say top 25 player, top 20 player. Him and Brad Beal were doing pretty good, but just nothing you can really do with the roster that they had. Although you could argue John Wall himself wasn't good enough to be a best player. You could argue that, and I wouldn't be opposed to that argument. One of the best players I've ever seen never get the true recognition he deserved because he was surrounded by okay or terrible players. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about some of the players that were on here, and let me know what you think about some players in general that had the fastest fall from grace. Again, I think Zach LaVine, Ben Simmons, Jordan Poole, maybe I said a couple other players, but those are the players that came to mind initially. You could argue Andrew Wiggins again. I mean, not that he was a flat out star, but he was really good with that Warriors on their championship run, and then just really was never the same. Of course, Jordan Poole fits the bill as well. But anyway, I appreciate you guys for watching. This says all we've been different. All we've been different. And we out.